Okay, we should be recording. Okay, I will call the order the regular monthly board meeting of the Shell Rock River Watershed District to order. This is a teleconference provided by the Minnesota Statute 103D.01, Subdivision 1. Leo, please call roll.
We're just preparing to go live right now. 1 second, please. Okay, we are live. Let's see. Have a little delay going live on Facebook. Okay, we are live on Facebook. Do you want to repeat that, Mick?
I sure can. So I'm ready to go now.
Correct.
Call to order the regular monthly board meeting of Shell Rock River Watershed District to order. This meeting is through a teleconference as provided by the Minnesota Statute 103D.021 Subdivision. Would you please call roll? Yes.
Manager Kramer?
Present.
Manager Pasuski?
Here.
Manager Bakken?
Here.
Manager DeBoer?
Here.
Manager Hanson? Absent. Manager Pistorius?
Here.
Manager Delger?
Here. Okay, item number 2, the consent agenda. The following items will be acted upon without discussion in accordance with the staff recommendation and associated documents unless the manager requests for discussion. The minutes of the April 4th Shell Rock River Watershed District Board B, April 2020 Treasurer's Report subject to audit. C, April 2020 Project Fund Treasurer's Report subject to audit. D, authorized payments of claims. E, authorized payment of project fund disbursements. F, quarterly transfer. Do I have a motion to approve as read?
It's Joe. I would do that.
Manager, motion made by Manager Soria. Pasuski, second.
Second.
Second by Manager Soria. Any discussion?
A lot of fruit. Okay.
So I have a first from Manager Pistorius, or second from Manager Pistorius,
Yes.
and a first from Manager Pasuski.
Yes.
Calling the roll, Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Bakken,
Aye.
Manager DeBoer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye. Motion carried. Item number 3, approval of agenda. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions?
Mr. Chair, I have one addition under administrator's items, item E, an update on CDF L2.
Okay. There's any other additions, corrections, or deletions? Not going to have a motion to approve the agenda
Moved.
by Manager DeBoer. Is there
A second.
a Manager Kramer? Any discussion? Hearing none, please call roll.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Bakken,
Aye.
Manager DeBoer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried. Next item, we'll go to 4, Administrator Andy Henschel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first item I have is item A, the Shell Rock River Watershed District's COVID-19 response update. So I just want to give a little update of where we are as far as the COVID-19 pandemic. One thing I want you to remember is this, we continually evaluate this basically on week-to-week basis. But where we're at as of right now, both the district's June and July board meeting will be held by a Zoom meeting and then put on Facebook Live as well. As far as staffing hours here at the office, the district technician will be out in the field doing water monitoring and project oversight 3 days a week and working from home the days, 2 of those days that he's not here at the office or out in the field. The district's finance technician and education outreach coordinator and administrative assistants are working Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at staggered hours, and on Tuesday and Thursday are working from their home. The district project and program manager is working out of the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays at staggered hours, and the other 3 days will be working from home. Staff will be supplied with thermometers to take their temperature before they come to the office. If they have a temp, they are asked to stay home. All employees have been or have received some hand sanitizer for both their office and their vehicle. District staff also will be cleaning the high traffic areas within the office in the mornings when they get to work. All staff have also been provided masks to wear when they come into contact with the public. We will be meeting with the public by appointment only, and we will follow all social distancing guidelines at that time. So just kind of an update of where we're at right now. Again, this is a continuing, continues to evolve, and we'll make updates as we go forward. So that is my COVID-19 response update. The second item I have is item B. I want to let you know we have 2 board managers up for reappointment or opened up. The county has put out advertisements for those who would like to sit on the board. So just letting the managers know that is coming up here in July. The item C is the Shell Rock River Watershed District's bonding request update. And this update, I'm going to turn over to Judy Erickson, our lobbyist, who is online right now.
Can you hear me? I
We
should
can
be
hear you now.
unmuted. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I am really happy to be here this morning, and I'm happy to let you know that the House bonding bill was put out yesterday afternoon. It's going to be in committee this morning, and it has $7.5 million for the Shell Rock River Watershed District's Fountain Lake Restoration Project. So I talked to Andy yesterday. I was really happy to have this news. As you know, maybe from other conversations that, we haven't been at the Capitol for 2 months, and communications and working on this stuff has really been hard to be, we're engaged, but there's just a lot people don't know, and there's a lot getting done behind the scenes. So I was really happy to see that $7.5 million in the bonding bill. We're not out of the woods yet. As you all know, we've been down this road before. It has to pass the House, has to be agreed upon by the Senate. I'm not concerned about the governor, but we have not seen a Senate bonding bill yet. The regular session is supposed to end on next Sunday, Monday. We have a long ways to go in terms of getting everything done in time, but I'm really happy to say that we are in the game in the House bill, and it's a really good place to be. Andy, you want me to update the Lassard Sam's package? Courtney is moving this morning as well. And the Shell Rocks project in that package is 1.9 million. And I know Courtney worked really hard last week to reduce some paperwork for that appropriation as well. And then the other thing that we have been monitoring is, as you know, we have that credit trading project funded, and they are looking to provide an extension to finishing that project, and we're still watching for that to happen. Any questions? Andy? What?
Andy was muted.
So Judy or Courtney, have we seen any comments from Lassard Sam's Outdoor Heritage on fiscal year 15, if they're going to extend those?
I'll have to look at the language. I looked at it briefly last night. It's up in Ways and Means this morning. So I'll double check that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. The extension of which year? 15?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
Does any of the managers have any questions for Judy?
Not to be a party pooper, but Kurt Dowd said either late yesterday or this morning there would be no bonding bill this year.
Well, that's the only plate Representative Dowd has to make this year. That's his only leverage is the bonding bill. And, you know, that would be really unfortunate. Like I said, we've a ways to go.
Yeah.
You all can contact and thank Representative Bennett for getting us this far. There's a couple of the other projects. Albert Lee did really well in the House bill. There's money for the Blazing Star Trail and there's money for Main Street, the flood project. So you all can contact Representative Bennett and thank her for her hard work on the House bill and ask her to vote for it.
All right, any other questions from Judy? All right, hearing none, we'll move to the next item. The next item on the agenda is item D, resolution 2020-07, execute option agreement for the Cass Enterprise or Church Lake property. Mr. Chair?
Do I have a motion for resolution 2020-07? Joe's talking, but muted.
This is Joe. I would make that motion.
Okay, motion made. Manager Pasuski, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Manager Pistorius. Would you like to read the resolution?
Yes, so I will be reading the resolution. It's resolution 2020-07, Church Lake Property Option Agreement Execution. Whereas on July 26, 2018, the Shell Rock River Watershed District anonymously approved an option to purchase real estate owned by CAS Enterprise Venture 6 LLC. Whereas on June 26, 2018, the district entered into an option agreement to purchase real estate owned by CAS Enterprise Venture 6 LLC, the original option agreement. Whereas the original option agreement was recorded as document A-533640 in the office of the Freeborn County Recorder on August 7, 2018. Whereas thereafter, the district received a request to add roughly 7 more acres of real estate to the original option agreement. Whereas on October 8, 2019, the district approved an amended option agreement, the amended option agreement, to add roughly 7 more acres of real estate to the original option agreement, the entirety of the real estate hereinafter referred to as the Church Lake property. Whereas on October 8, 2019, the district entered into an amended option agreement to purchase the Church Lake property. Whereas the amended option agreement was recorded as document number 8-539565 in the office of the Freeborn County Recorder on October 8th, 2019. Whereas funding for the acquisition of the Church Lake property was approved by the Lessard Sam's Outdoor Heritage Council. Whereas the district received an appraisal establishing the appraised value of the Church Lake property at $383,000.00. Whereas, as required by the amended option agreement and within the eligible costs for reimbursement through the Lessard Sam's Outdoor Heritage Council, the district reached an agreement on purchase price of $421,000.00. Whereas the Board of Directors now desires to exercise the amended option agreement and complete the purchase of the real estate. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Shell Rock River Watershed District, number 1, authorizes exercise of the option granted in the amended option agreement dated October 8th, 2019, and number 2, authorizes district staff to execute all documents properly exercisable by district staff to facilitate and effect this purchase of real estate, dated May 12th, 2020.
Thing that Administrator Andy, would you like to add to this?
So as you know, because we're doing this meeting via Zoom, we asked for written comments to be sent to myself from the public who wanted to comment. I believe we received 5 comments, so I will start reading those comments to you now. So this one was written May 12th, 2020, board agenda item number 4, resolution 2020-07. And this is from Sue and Joe Grossman. It says, board managers, thank you for this opportunity to share comments regarding the proposed acquisition of property listed in the May 12th agenda as resolution 2020-07. This is difficult to comment on given that the purchase agreement and the appraisal have been withheld from the public and we have no real knowledge of the appraised value or purchase price being considered. However, we did want you to be aware that Mr. Greg Jensen reached out to us on April 25th regarding sale of the property. Mr. Jensen asked for our best offer. We offered $300,000 exceeding valuation based on previous research via the Freeborn County Assessor's Office, but felt justified in the value to us as the land is adjacent to our property and the Karshins would then acquire a portion from us. We were hopeful for a win-win situation. Mr. Jensen called us again on Sunday, April 26th, and asked if we would consider $475,000 and shared a number of comparable sales he felt justified that figure. He further stated that he also provided the appraiser with the comparable sales at $475,000. The price per acre would be near $95,000 per acre of land, which exceeds tillable rural land sales. See attached rural land sales from Freeborn County Assessors. At our October 2019 board managers meeting, the board discussed that this is one step in the process and the managers directed staff to reach out to landowners who voiced concerns and at the meeting and to see what opportunities there would be to ease the concerns. No such outreach has occurred. Please know that we are absolutely still concerned with the change of land use and the apparent statutory allowance from this to happen without public process or public involvement of the respective township board and county board. While statutorily permissible, we ask, is it good stewardship and public policy to use taxpayer dollars without collaborating with local government partners on the impacts of increasing public held lands or prospective changes of land use? Isn't this why we have representative councils and boards? The Shell Rock River Watershed District's stated mission is to implement reasonable and necessary improvements to the water related and other natural resources of the district. Does this project represent the best opportunity for the water quality improvements? Are there other programs or cost share incentives like LCCMR or RIM that the district could promote, allowing land to remain on the tax rolls without a change of use and be protected beyond the protections already established with this parcel via the Wetland Conservation Act? We ask the managers to please carefully reconsider this action based on reasonable price per acre on the land with a thoughtful process that encourages open communication, transparency with the public, and especially with our public local government bodies. Sincerely, Sue and Joe Grossman. So that is the letter from Sue and Joe Grossman. Next, I have a letter from Craig and Angela Stickford. This is the property owner. It says, Dear board, or dear members of the board, we are writing today in reference to the option agreement that is in place between ourselves and the Shell Rock Watershed District. We would like to take this opportunity to assure you that we are still interested in moving forward with the sale of our property to your organization. There has been significant time that has passed and many efforts that have been put forth from when we all first signed the option agreement. Our intentions remain the same as when we began this process. We feel that this project is good for the public in that the sale would preserve the property for future generations, providing habitat for all wildlife, stop future development of the property, and provide an area for adults and youth to enjoy recreational activities in a time where access is more limited every day on private property. We would very much like to see the pristine property be protected forever and feel that this route of sale to the Shell Rock River Watershed District would be the best avenue to make that happen. It would be beneficial for your organization to be able to control, maintain, and improve water quality as well. In closing, it is our sincere hope that this project can move forward so that the future generations can enjoy the beauty of Church Lake and the property. Sincerely, Craig and Angela Stickford. The third letter or comment received is from the local Pheasants Forever chapter. It says, to whom it may concern, the Freeborn County Pheasants Forever chapter is writing in support of the Shell Rock River Watershed District's proposed to purchase the Church Lake property, a project that would protect and restore over 80 acres of wildlife habitat in our county. Our chapter is decidedly supportive of more places to introduce others to the outdoors. The addition of the property in the Shell Rock River Watershed District watershed's proposal would allow for improved access, public hunting, and recreational opportunities. The land would be an invaluable asset to our local community. Freeborn County Pheasants Forever places a high value on passing the hunting tradition and enjoyment of the outdoors on to future generations. And our chapter feels this proposal allows for all local volunteers to expand on that mission. Thank you for your consideration of this proposal. Sincerely, Greg Postumus, Chapter President, Freeborn County Pheasants Forever. The fourth letter is from the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources regarding Resolution 2020-07. Dear Mr. Henschel, I'm writing in support of Resolution 2020-07 before the Shell Rock River Watershed District Board of Managers to execute an option agreement to purchase the property on Church Lake from Cass Properties. This property has riparian marsh shoreline on Church Lake and 87-acre public water wetland. The riparian lands have upland forest, pasture, and some cropland. Acquisition of this parcel would also protect critical shoreline areas on Church Lake. Parcel has high conservation value, having habitat for important species of the greatest conservation need and other wildlife in south central Minnesota. Conservation on that tract will build upon a habitat complex of public and private conservation lands between Albert Lea and Iowa border. Thank you for your opportunity to comment. Sincerely, Janine Vorland, Area Wildlife Supervisor. The fifth and final comment is from Betty and Ron Stoik. It says, hi, Andy, this is Ron and Betty Stoik regarding the Church Lake property acquisition. We would like to sell our taxable land that is underwater on Church Lake to the Shell Rock River Watershed District. Please take this under consideration at your next meeting. You can reach out to us and then gives a phone number, their address. It says we do not have Zoom or district website. Thank you for your help in this matter. Sent by, again, Ron and Betty Stoik. So those were the 5 comments received by the district for the Church Lake acquisition. Mr. Chair.
Okay, is there any other discussion from the managers? All right, hearing none. Please call roll. Leah, please call roll for somebody trying to speak.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pastuski,
Aye.
Manager Bakken,
Nay.
Manager DeBoer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Nay.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye. That resolution 2020-07 passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moving on to item E. This is the agenda item that we added. Update on CDF Cell 2. This came to my attention Friday. I had a conference call with OBG, our engineer, for CDF 2. What we are finding is a berm failure between stations 950 and 1300 on CDF Cell 2. And what I mean by a berm failure is we're seeing cracking on top and on the sides of the berm. And also we're seeing the bottom inboard side of the berm pushing out. We had a conference call yesterday between Byte, the contractor, OBG, our engineer, myself. So just to give you an update on what the plan is to have geotechnical engineers on site Thursday to determine 1, the cause, and 2, the fix. However, again, that's going to happen Thursday. It's going to take a little bit of time to put out a report on that. Once that is completed, then we'll have to work with Byte, of course, to figure out how, again, we're going to fix that. So I want to make the board aware of the situation. It's possible, if you remember, we have a June 1st deadline for Byte to complete Cell 2. The cell is pretty much completed. I would say it's at 98.8% complete. However, with this failure, this cell will not be certified at this point. So we could have some delays in this completion of Cell 2. Again, I will know more Thursday and keep the board up to speed on this process. It could be that actually Cell 3 is completed before Cell 2. I know Byte's been pushing hard to get Cell 3 done. They say if everything goes good, they have roughly 3 weeks, maybe possibly 4, to finish up Cell 3. So that, that might be the saving grace to this whole thing. We'll just have to see how it plays out. And again, I'll keep the board updated through emails on how this process plays out. Any questions on CDF Cell 2? All right, with that, I'll turn it back over to the chair.
Okay. Number 5, Project Program Manager Courtney Phillips.
Good morning. The first item that I have is Resolution 2020-08, Lessard Sam's Outdoor Heritage Council funding application. The Lassard Sams put out a request for proposal for their next round of funding. The submission deadline for this grant application is May 28th. Unfortunately, we don't have a completed application yet, but this is going to be for phase 10 of our habitat restoration program. In the past, just alone, that habitat restoration program has brought in almost $11 million to the district. So we are looking to continue that with this next round of funding. Again, not a complete list, but it'll include stream bank restoration work and habitat improvement projects. So the application budget we're expecting is around to be $3 to $4 million, with roughly $100,000 would be in kind from the district. So with that, if I can get a first and a second, I will read the resolution.
Get a motion first, please.
So moved.
Was that by? Didn't see it.
Manager Kramer,
Okay, do I have a second? Do I have a second? Joe, will you make it a second, Joe?
Yeah, if I wasn't the first, I'll do the second.
Okay. All right, you
Okay.
got that. All right, would you read the resolution, please?
Yes. Resolution 2020-08, Shell Rock River Watershed LSOHC grant application. Be it resolved that the Shell Rock River Watershed District, hereinafter referred to as applicant, acts as the legal sponsor for the Shell Rock River Watershed Habitat Restoration Program, Phase 10, contained in the Lassard Sams Outdoor Heritage Council application to be submitted on May 28th, 2020. And be it further resolved that the applicant is hereby authorized to apply to the LSOHC, hereinafter referred to as state, for funding of intended projects on behalf of the applicant. Be it further resolved that the applicant has the legal authority to apply for financial assistance and the institutional, managerial, and financial capability to ensure adequate acquisition, maintenance, and protection of the intended projects. Be it further resolved that the applicant has not incurred any construction costs or has not entered into any written agreements to purchase property for the intended projects. Be it further resolved that the applicant has not violated any federal, state, or local laws pertaining to fraud, bribery, graft, kickbacks, collusion, conflict of interest, or other unlawful or corrupt practice. Be it further resolved that upon approval of the application by the state, the applicant may enter into an agreement with the state for the above referenced projects, and that the applicant certifies that it will comply with all applicable laws and regulations as stated in the contract agreement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Andy Henschel, District Administrator for the Shell Rock River Watershed District, is hereby authorized to execute such agreements as are necessary to implement the intended projects on behalf of the applicant. Dated May 12th, 2020.
Question? And hearing none, we will call roll, please.
managers, can you unmute yourselves? There we go. Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
I read his
Manager
lips.
Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Bakken,
Aye.
Manager DeBoer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye. Resolution 2020-08 is passes.
Thank you. Next item is item B, which is resolution 2020-09, which is execute option agreement for the Orr property. This project was included in phase 6 of our habitat restoration program. The project location is east of Alden, just north of the interstate. This is an acquisition to purchase 80 acres of agricultural ground and do wetland restoration work and then donate it to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service currently owns ground that borders the west side of this parcel. So this is just for funding the project to purchase, but we do have wetland restoration funding in a later phase of the grant. The district is paying $675,000 for this project. And so if I can get a first and a second, I will read that resolution. Oh, sorry.
Courtney, you cut out. Do you want to say that again?
What was the last thing you heard?
I think you were calling for a first and a second.
Oh, yep.
So moved.
Do we have a first and a second, Leah? Or just a first?
We have a first by Manager Kramer.
Okay. I think they're muted.
There we go.
We have a first by Manager Kramer. Do we have a second?
I think Joe is signaling that he wants to be second. He's muted.
Can you unmute me? Yeah, thank you. 1 second.
Okay. I will read resolution 2020-09 or property option agreement execution. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District Board of Managers enter into an option agreement dated March 10th, 2020, recorded as document A-541869 in the office of the Freeborn County Recorder to purchase real estate. Whereas the Board of Directors now desires to exercise the option and complete the purchase of the real estate. Therefore, be it resolved that the Shell Rock River Watershed District, 1, authorizes the exercise of the option granted in the option agreement dated March 10th, 2020, authorizes district staff to execute all documents properly exercisable by district staff to facilitate and effect this purchase of real estate, and authorizes district staff to make non-marital changes to all documents in an effort to facilitate and effect this purchase of real estate, dated May 12th, 2020.
Oh, Mike, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Is there any discussion by the managers?
Yeah, what's the property for?
What was that, Mike? What is the property for?
Yes,
So it's going to be, this right now is just for the acquisition, but we do have funding to do wetland restoration work in the future, which includes tile breaks to hold water on the landscape, and then planting of native seed from what is currently agricultural ground. It
Okay.
will be donated. Sorry. The end
What-
owners is going to be the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
okay. Thank
Any
you.
other? Okay. Any other discussion?
Al, I'd like to speak. Al, am I on?
Yep.
Okay. These appraisals are the purchase prices are coming in higher than the appraisals. The one on the Church Lake property was 109%. This one's 106%. So I'd like to see closer to the appraisals. My comment. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Would you please call roll?
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
All right.
Manager Bakken,
Nay.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
What was that, Manager DeBoer?
Aye.
Okay. Manager Hanson,
Nay.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye. Resolution passes.
Thank you. Item C is a motion to enter into a memorandum of understanding with U.S. Fish and Wildlife for the Miller Tract Wetland Restoration. This project location is again in the similar spot of being east of Alden, north of the interstate. This is property that is currently owned by U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, so they purchased this ground themselves. However, they do not have the wetland restoration funding to go with it. We do have funding in our phase 5 of our habitat restoration program to be able to do the wetland restoration work. So this memorandum of understanding just allows the Shell Rock staff and our contractors and engineers out on site to be able to do the wetland restoration work, and shows that we are working collectively with other partners such as U.S. Fish and Wildlife towards habitat restoration and wetland restoration projects. So that's why we have a motion for a memorandum of understanding.
We have a motion. Motion made by Joe,
Second.
second by Manager Kramer.
And
Is
said,
there any discussion?
I do also want to point out that we were able to use the U.S. Fish and Wildlife funding to acquire the property as match towards our grant. So it overall lessened the district's responsibility as in-kind match towards the grant. So another positive.
Good. Okay, any more discussion? Hearing none. Al, do you have something to say?
I was going to say, I'd like to have a workshop to sometime here soon to talk about some of these issues. We're acquiring quite a bit of land. It's coming off the tax rolls eventually. I read yesterday that 10% of Freeborn County is in recreation land right now. So what percentage are we going to, I guess, hunting? I'd like to talk about it, I guess, a little bit more before we keep going on this road. So that's all. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, please call roll.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Bakken,
Nay.
Manager DeBoer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
aye.
Manager Pistorius, Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye. Motion, Miller Tract pass, or motion carried. There you go.
Thank you. Item D is Resolution 2020-10, award contractor for two-stage ditch project on Judicial Ditch 9. This project was funded by Bowser Targeted Watershed funding that is focused on the Pickerel Lake sub-watershed. This is a project that we are working with the County Drainage Authority on J9. All appropriate approval has been made and all public hearings have been conducted by the board, and project plans have been approved by the county board. The district solicited quotes project on May 27th, and quotes were due, we solicited quotes April 27th and quotes were due May 7th. We did receive 3 quotes, and Jensen Trucking and Excavating was the lowest quote, and the engineers are recommending them. So if I can get a first and a second, I will read the resolution for this project.
If you would unmute it, or mute everyone, Leah, so we can hear that.
So moved.
Who's Who made the motion?
Dan.
Dan? Okay, motion, I have a second. Do I have a second? Looking for a second.
Joe seconds.
Okay, seconded by Major Paczynski. Any discussion?
I'll read the resolution. What I will be reading will look slightly different than the copy that was most recently sent out to reflect the conflict of interest. So, Resolution 2020-10 Bowser Targeted Watershed Two-Stage Ditch Project Contract Award. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District Board of Managers pursues the mission of implementing reasonable and necessary improvements to the water-related and other natural resources within its boundaries. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District Watershed Management Plan. Whereas following the request for quotes sent out on April 27, 2020, the Bowser Targeted Watershed Two-Stage Ditch Project, the quotes were due on May 7, 2020. Whereas several quotes were submitted in the amounts of $108,720 and $130,775 for the completion of the project pursuant to the bid specifications. Whereas in a letter dated May 11th, 2020, Jones Haugen Smith recommended Jensen Trucking and Excavating as the lowest qualified quote. Whereas the SRRWD is collaborating with Freeborn County on the project, Freeborn County Ditch J9. Therefore, the Board of Managers hereby finds that the project has the potential to promote the public interest and welfare, is practicable, and conforms to the Watershed Management Plan. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Shell Rock River Watershed District, with the disclosure of the potential conflict of interest, Manager Bakken abstained from voting and recused himself from discussion of the issue as follows. Section 1, the contract is awarded to Jensen Trucking and Excavating as the lowest quote and in the best interest of the district pursuant to the terms of the contract. And Section 2, the staff, the chairman of the Board of Managers, and the secretary are authorized to sign all contracts and documents necessary to proceed with the project. Section 3, before a claim is paid for the service, Manager Bakken must file with the district an affidavit stating A, his name and office held, B, an itemization of the commodity or services provided, C, the contract price, D, the reasonable value, E, the interest in the contract, and F, that the best of his knowledge and belief, the contract price is as low as or lower than the price at which the commodity or services could be obtained from other sources, dated May 12th, 2020.
Unmute. With that, is there any other discussion from the managers?
I'd like to discuss, can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead, Manager Pistorius.
It's a quick question for Courtney. In all the projects that we've been working on here today, is the sales tax dollars used for any of them?
Did you just say, has the sales tax dollars been used for any of them?
What I said.
As far as this project, a very small portion of the total Bowser Targeted Watershed Grant is coming from in-kind sources. Of the $810 that we have received from Bowser Targeted Watershed, 25% has been in kind. However, of that 25%, we have been able to capture a large percentage from U.S. Fish and Wildlife as in kind for funds. So I would say, just guessing, less than 15% has been from local option sales tax dollars. And that is just my best educated guess right now.
So when we talk about land being moved from tax roll such or price of land, the majority of the money is coming from Start Sam's for these projects, which is state tax dollars. It is not sales tax dollars. It is not county taxes and it's not local taxes. Correct?
Correct, yes. And the LaSarge SAMS grants are normally a smaller percentage of in-kind. Of the roughly $2 million that we get, normally around $100,000 or so is local option sales tax. So that percentage ratio is a lot smaller for LaSarge SAMS.
And Gary, I can expand on that as well. The other thing that, you know, we do when we look at the LaSarge SAMS, and especially in the land purchases, you know, we have, when we purchase that, then the state then puts what they call a PILT payment, or payment in lieu of taxes, on those parcels. And most time, and especially with, like, for instance, the Church Lake parcel, that actually the county will actually receive more tax dollars because the value then is based off the appraisal that was done by a DNR certified appraiser. So that value is based on its, and whether you want to call it its habitat value or whatever, but it's based on appraisals. So all of these land acquisitions are based off appraisals for their PILT payment.
One last comment. On projects like that we're voting on right now, I think it's important for us to make a very good effort to meet with the landowners that were affected by these projects in the future.
Manager Gary, I agree.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion?
Just a second while they unmute themselves. Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Bakken, Manager Bakken,
I
Manager-
recuse myself today.
He's muted.
I recuse
Manager
myself.
Bakken. Sounds good. Manager DeVore,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
He's muted.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye. Resolution 2020-10 passed.
Thank you. Item E is a Bowser targeted watershed update. First, I'd like to update the board managers of the Wasmone Wetland Restoration project that is taking place just west of Pickerel Lake. Jamie Jensen Trucking and Excavating also had that bid. They did a large majority of the work last fall. However, as things got frozen, it wasn't suitable for berm building, so they came back this spring. The final tile breaks and berms were installed, or tile breaks were completed, and seeding just finished up. So that project is wrapping up, just gonna do some final walkthroughs, and that project will be completed. Next is a contract update. There was a mishap in Bowser reading the appropriation language of the grant that we received. This was the 2016 fiscal year targeted watershed grant dollars. Our grant end date was supposed to be December 31st, 2020. However, with the language mishap, it was pushed forward to June 20th of this summer. Being that the two-stage ditch is getting close to being constructed, it's just better to extend it. And so what Bowser is doing is we will actually be returning all of the unspent funds right now and Bowser will be reissuing us a new grant agreement date, and this will have a completion date of June 30th, 2021. So it's 1-year extension. I do want to point out that we are not the only watershed district that this happened to. There are 4 other targeted watershed grants of the same 2016 cycle that are going through the same process of getting that 1-year extension because of that appropriation language mishap. So is there any questions on that? Hearing none, I can go to the One Watershed, One Plan update. Item F, being that we are still not having, in-person meetings, the water planning has still been taking place via conference calls. The steering team, which is local staff who are working on the plan, have been working towards working with our consultants on framing up issues and goal statements relating to natural resources, surface water, and then also groundwater topics. The statements and the goals will be presented to our advisory committee meeting tomorrow afternoon. The advisory committee is composed of state officials as well as local stakeholders. So that meeting will take place, like I said, tomorrow. After we have their input on our goal statements and desired future conditions, we will be taking that to the policy committee. Again, the policy committee is composed of all the elected officials or board representative members. After that is all said and done, the next steps are going to be working on the implementation plan, which is, I think, the meat and potatoes of the plan of what projects we'll be targeting first. And we expect to have a draft plan sometime in September, amid still moving forward with the COVID process. So, is there any questions regarding that? Not really hearing any. I will move forward to the last item, which is item G, the Pioneer Park project update. The Pioneer Park project was funded by Lessard Sam's Targeted Watershed, our Phase 8 funding. This project was working with the City of Albert Lea as a joint project to protect erosion areas along Pioneer Park Lakeshore, as well as installing habitat features to benefit Fountain Lake. Again, this project, a lot of it was completed during frozen conditions in winter months, so there is some spring touch-up work that needs to be done as far as getting the bench to an elevation that we wanted, as well as working on erosion areas as a result of the winter construction. So we will be working with our engineers, and we have a meeting this week to go over what final work needs to be done for that Pioneer Park project. But otherwise, all is moving forward, and that will be completed by late spring, early summer. So, and that is all that I have.
Very good. Thank you, Courtney. Item number 6 will go to Technical Specialist Scott Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one item on the agenda today, and that is Upper and Lower Twin project updates. Upper Twin Lake Pump Station, initiated in 2015, the Lessard Sam's funded project. It is nearing 75% completion with a new box culvert under County Road 80 installed, and we are working on site stabilization and commissioning of the electrical pump. And actual commissioning of the pump station itself should occur in June, with final completion June 1st on Upper Twin Pump Station. Lower Twin Lake Part 1 was a fish barrier installed last winter, also initiated in 2015. We are at 90% completion on that, with just site erosion control and stabilization and some final seeding and touch-up work. The new catwalk structure, stop log structure, and rock berm fish barrier have been installed, and that should be complete by June 1st as well. Lower Twin Lake Part 2, the stream restoration on Goose Creek is at 90% completion, with site erosion control and stabilization occurring this May, and final completion occurring June 1st. Does anybody have any questions?
Doesn't look like it. I don't see any voices or anybody waving. We're gonna have, by the time we get this all figured out, hopefully the social distancing will be over with and we will be able to be face to face and make it a little bit easier. But in the meantime, I guess we all have to suffer and work out the bugs, and which we're doing very good with so far, I think. But with that, we got some other things go on today that again, we need to talk about. So I think in the future, we'll do some of that shortly. Get everybody on the same page. Does any of the other managers have any questions? Any discussion on anything? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I might want to just talk a little bit about some upcoming meetings. Some of these have more than likely will be canceled, but we got Minnesota Water Resource Conference coming up October 15th and 16th. We have the legislative bonding tour. Am I reading an old one? I'm reading an old
I was
agenda.
gonna say, where are you finding that at?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, we do have some other upcoming events, and I see Dave Copeland is on. Dave is our Bowser representative. He has asked us to assist Bowser with a tour for their board managers. The district said that we would gladly help if you want to bring the board managers down here to look at the projects that we with Bowser on through the Bowser Targeted Watershed Grant and any other projects they would like to look at. So it's just the planning stage right now. I know Dave is not necessarily going to talk, but Dave, just so you know, I'm definitely willing to assist you and work with you on scheduling that tour if Bowser proceeds with that during these times. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Anything else? Okay, if not, I need a motion to adjourn. What, sorry? Somebody saying something? No, must be in background. Do I have a motion?
I'm trying to say something. Who's up for reappointment?
Reappointment, we have Brad and Gary.
Thank you. Move to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second, Joe.
Okay. Please call roll.
So moved.
Please call
You're
roll.
muted.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Are we on?
We have to do it via roll call, guys. Hang on.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Okay. Manager Pasuski.
Aye. Aye.
Manager Bakken. Manager Bakken.
Aye.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
I think he left.
Manager Pretorius.
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you all. Stay safe.
Thanks, everyone.